Hi, I'm Catherine
And I'm Lynn, and we are a coffee break.
with Cat and Mom. Welcome back to our podcast. This is season 2, episode 1. So that's pretty amazing. We did
Yes.
20 episodes for season 1, and now we're going to kick off season 2 with my mom's best friend as a special guest. She came down to Florida to visit, so we'll have her here in a little bit. And we just woke up, so we're in our pajamas.
Drinking our coffee.
Yeah, we did a little bit of makeup though, but yeah.
We don't want to be videotaped without makeup first thing in the morning.
Yeah, no, I'd look pretty rough. But we have some exciting stuff planned for season 2. We're going to do some interviews. Like we said in season 1, our hairstylist has some crazy stories.
Yes.
So my idea was to rent out, there's some podcast studios in Boca. So I thought we could do like a professional interview for that. So you have that
because he works there and he lives a little bit south of Boca, so that was easier. But he's pretty nervous about it. Kind of funny, but because we're trying to make it work in our schedule, and like his schedule more than our schedule. But we are totally opposite schedules right now, so we're trying to make it work with him. But he is so interesting and so funny, in his family history.
He has like a book of his family's stories that they wrote in it from like great
the 1800s or something like that. Yeah, it's been passed down.
That's going to be a very fun interview to do for season 2. Season 2, I want to incorporate a lot more interviews because I think it's always just fun to get other people's perspectives. So that is a goal for season 2. And then we're starting off great because we have her best friend here, so
Angie, and also maybe like we had a lot of fun. I don't know if you need to tell us if you liked it or not. But when we were in the car, we had fun. I mean, obviously, I need to maybe just plug the microphone here so I can use both my hands when I'm driving. But it was a lot of fun. It was funny.
But we have some good ideas for this podcast episode too. Tonight you'll see it's going to be a 2-segment episode tonight or tomorrow night.
Yep.
We're going to do a little get ready with me. While we talk about our topic for this episode, which is going to be our dreams from when we were younger to where we are now. And there's some pretty funny dreams that I had when I was younger. So you'll get to hear about those.
Just spoiler alert, as you guys probably know, she wanted to be the dolphin.
I wanted to be a dolphin, not a dolphin trainer. Well, at one point, yeah, but
no, that was your second option.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that tomorrow night, which you will see in about 30 minutes or 20 minutes. But we also want to hear your guys' opinions and thoughts on the interviews and the car podcast, which I loved. I thought it was so much fun.
It was fun, and what you guys want, because it was raw. Because Diana was driving, and you guys are lucky I didn't start like getting mad.
Road rage,
I don't do road rage. However, a lot of people don't know how to drive. But anyway,
a lot of people don't know how to drive. But also, just taking you guys along with us, doing maybe some vlog style podcasts like the driving, but maybe we'll like go somewhere, like try to go to a coffee shop this time.
Let's do it. That'd be great. But if you guys have ideas, if you guys say like, hey, we want to
hear about
this or just your perspective on this, or hey, let us laugh and then let's do this, and just please just message us and we'll totally do it.
Yeah, but thank you for coming along with us for season 1. We were just kind of getting the hang of things and seeing what we want to keep for season 2 and what we want to change. We did a whole new photo shoot, and you saw from the montage. I think I do want to keep us popping the champagne from season 1 because that was very cute. But you'll see a lot of new footage and pictures on our Instagram, and that was a lot of fun. One of the picture themes was
tacky
New Jersey shore mixed with Miami beachy. Like I wanted it to look kind of tacky and funny. So one of us was funny. The other one was classy. One of us was like drinking wine in the kitchen. Just kind of like that vibe that you see on Pinterest when you're like late night with your best friend, like drinking wine. So yeah, we did that too. And then
played tennis.
The tennis with a matcha and an iced coffee, but like half our footage got lost. So that was really tough. But
the most beautiful part that we played tennis and we completely sucked at it, but it didn't matter. We lost that. That footage got lost.
Hopefully you guys liked the new season 2 montage and footage.
Every episode we do a review on a coffee break, so it's called a coffee break with Cat and Mom. So it comes from, our idea came from the Swedish word, right?
Yeah.
Fika, which means a coffee break.
Directly translated.
Yeah. Like enjoyed with friends and family, taking a break while drinking a good cup of coffee or a tea. And so obviously we couldn't use that word because not everybody understands what fika meant. But so that's what we're doing. Every episode we're trying to do a review
of a small coffee shop, small businesses, promote them. We're big on promoting small businesses, small owners.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. This episode, we are doing a coffee review on Paradise Island Coffee, which is on Singer Island where we live.
Yes. And we've been there before in season 1, but now they have a new owner. And she brought her, I mean, if you guys live close to here and you want to go, she had a little boutique, I think, of like very like kind of like ocean or islandy, whatever, jewelry. She doesn't have really much clothes, but it's all like accessories and stuff like that. And she bought the coffee shop, and now she's there with her boutique. And she just, I mean, you wanted a matcha with something, whatever, especially. And then she went in the back, and I saw her looking at her little recipe thing, and she made she did a fantastic job. It was a very good matcha.
Yeah, it's good quality matcha as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then what did you got the cold brew, right?
The nitro.
Yeah.
And she's like, do you want to have like a sweetened? Do you want? And she like gave me so many options of sweetener and stuff. And I usually a nitro sweet cream. I don't, like if you go to a Starbucks, it's kind of made that way. And she just made it like personal to me, and whatever cream I wanted. I mean, it woke me up. I was awake for the rest of the night. It was nitro and a half, but it was really good. And she was so sweet. She was very appreciative that we came, and she was close to closing time when we got there. So, and she was like just
20 minutes before. I felt very bad, but she made it great. And
she was really happy.
That's the coffee or the matcha and the coffee that you see in our photo shoot for the tennis.
Yes. And we reviewed it right away online. She was like very happy about this. So so Paradise
Island Coffee.
If
you're near Singer Island, go check it out. It's very cute. It's right by the beach. So that is our coffee review for episode 1 of our season 2.
And you will see it every time that the episode come up. So
and now we will introduce our guest. This is my mom's best friend, Angie.
Hi there. Woo, yay! I'm here. It took me 15 hours to get to Florida from the Midwest.
Yes. She's
got her weather.
She's got her coffee, Bloody Mary.
Double.
Yeah.
Double.
She's on vacation. You don't need to bring it up.
Oh, I have no idea. There's no echo. I'm thinking there should be an echo, and I have no clue.
Tomorrow night we'll do like how you guys met, and then give all the interesting stories that we have. I want to talk about the Bruno Mars stories as well.
Yes.
Bruno Mars. Our Friday nights at the house with the kids.
Yes. That was awesome. We are all going to Nashville in June. So we are going to have to do, she's going to be featured on the podcast again in June. So that'll be fun. And then you guys are going to be in Cabo.
Well, yeah, for my birthday. So my birthday is first. It's a big birthday this year. Well, because we're going to Nashville 2 weeks later for your birthday. Yeah. And then your sister's birthday is actually 2 weeks later, but she's going to be with us. We're supposed to be with us in Nashville.
Yeah. So to introduce Angie, we'll share the story of how my mom and Angie met. I don't really know the full story, so
this is how I met Angie. We had a lot of friends in common we just didn't know. So our kids were swimmers, and so she has 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl, and I have 3 kids too, but Amelia is much younger. So like kind of same age, and so we were at swim meets, and we were not on the same team at that time. You were on a swim team in Illinois.
Wait, can I interrupt?
Yeah, you do.
We're trying to get Bella and Joshua together.
Yes.
That too.
Yes.
For years.
But it hasn't happened, but God has a plan.
God has a plan. They're the total opposite, so we think it's going to... Well, Josh might listen to this. Anyway, so sorry, love you. But anyway, and then so we were at a swim meet. You guys were on a team in Illinois at this time. We were still on a team in Iowa.
Right.
The PV Stingrays, I think, at that point. Before another club got kind of started, and that's where you swim too. But you were there that day at that meet. It was in Rock Island, and it was really funny. So your dad was talking to her husband, Sean, and another gentleman that was a radio station host. And he was having a fun time with you because you were freaking out. You were stressing out like, I gotta go swim. And Bill was like, what are you swimming? The 50-100.
That's not a race, guys.
No, it's not. There's no 50, 100. But anyway, it was just, and he's like, the what? The 50, 100. And everybody was laughing. By the meantime, Angie's sitting right next to me, right? Don't know who she is. Now, to put you guys in context, she's blonde with blue eyes. Her husband is black. And her kids, I mean, they're not very dark.
They kind of look Mexican sometimes.
Yeah. But they were not blonde with blue eyes. And
no, they weren't.
So I'm looking at your kids swimming. And we're all cheering, right? Don't know why this woman is cheering for these people, these kids. But anyway, so I'm cheering. So I'm like, oh, that's their team. No, I'm
not just cheering. I'm screaming. So you would think that it was they were my kids.
Well, we were all screaming for everybody's teammates. Anyway, so it seems that way. And it was like one of your first competition meets.
So I didn't have a clue. She's actually racist.
No, I am not. So anyway, besides the point,
she didn't want to acknowledge the fact that I could be married to a black man.
She's stereotypical, and she's.
Oh my God, you both! I'm gonna freaking punch you both. I didn't punch you both, but anyway. So that night, your dad. So I was married to your dad at that time. He's like, I can't believe you're such a snob. Like he didn't say racist, okay? He said snob because I was not saying hi to Sean's wife.
And I was like, literally did things. She's stuck up. There's a problem. I don't know what's going on. But I kept giving her a try.
Yeah. So I said, well, why didn't you introduce me to her? And he's like, okay, well, tomorrow I will. Same situation, same sitting arrangement, still doesn't tell me.
Hello, cheering for the same kids.
Yeah.
Out loud.
And then he finally said, and I think it's your husband that finally said, well, why don't you just meet my wife, this Angie? And I was like, red as a tomato, freaking out. I was like, and your dad was looking at me from far away. He knew damn well what he was doing the entire freaking weekend. I was like, I fucking hate you right now. Pardon my French, but yeah. So that is how we became best friends, literally. From that day on, that was the beginning.
It was.
But we all ended up being friends, and we actually came down to this condo to visit on vacation all together.
Yes, we did 1 year. Yeah. We came when you're like my parents were still living here. Yeah. And then we joined the same team, and then we did some major swim meets with them, and that's when we had like early in the morning because she is not a morning person. We had to be at the pool at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and she was singing "I'm wide awake," and she wasn't.
You know that song? If you don't, look it up.
Wide awake.
Wide awake.
And then I would come home from swim practice some nights at the townhouse or even at Benwood's, and you guys would already be like drinking and singing and dancing. And I was like, what am I walking into right now? I'm like,
a fun party.
Half dead from practice. And I'm like,
well, there was food for you on the table. Yeah. And then, it was, and then we would just be up all night and have fun. And yeah. So this is how our friendship started.
You'll get to see a glimpse of that fun tomorrow night while we get ready with a glass of champagne. So we will see you guys
cocktails,
in the next segment.
Tito's is her amigo.
Yeah, and we're going to go to the pool now. So.
Okay.
All right, we're back, and I know I said we were going to do a get ready with me, but we already got ready. They went to the pool today again, but I had to do lectures, even though it's my spring break. Sorry if you guys saw that little bug that just flew across. It's just, like, buzzing around right now. But we have our drinks because we are going out tonight. I know it's not coffee, but we already did our coffee review, so cheers.
You're supposed to look at each other's eyes.
All right, and we're back in our usual spot
for season
2 with our awesome background. The sun is setting. Hopefully the lighting's okay too. But we're gonna first introduce Angie. I know we already did, but we have some fun stories. We're going to Nashville, like I said, and Cabo. But do you guys want to? Oh, and we already explained the story of how they met.
Yeah, we are going to Nashville.
Yeah,
we are going to Cabo.
We already explained that too, and then I'm not going to Cabo. So.
She's really sad.
I wanted to bring up our Friday nights at Benwood's, the house.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how her daughter and I would recreate like popular vines. If I can find those, or if you have them, I need to put them up on our Instagram.
The song "Take on Me."
Yeah.
That song when she was doing this, like
with all the glasses.
Yeah, and then turn around with the glasses. To this day, that song starts, and I see her in my house in front of the fridge.
Yes.
And turning around
She was hilarious, but I don't have that video, so
I think one of you guys must have it.
And then we have our local ice cream shop called Whitey's.
Mm-hmm.
So every Friday night we would have our Whitey's and we'd watch a movie or a TV show, or we'd watch the Bruno Mars live concert for the 20 millionth time because it was recorded.
There like this.
Yep.
So that's when he went to the Apollo. That was his dream, if I remember well. And then they did it as a video and a show on TV, and you had some stuff already made up, before and in the street and stuff. But we just knew
it was like free for everybody, right? It was like a free concert. You just invited people. Concert. Yeah, he just gave out tickets on the street, and you see the like before.
And that lady that he invited, and she was in one of those private whatever balcony.
Yeah.
That he had found on. She was so funny. She was
well, remember when we were going to go to a concert and spend however many dollars, and you were going to come with me and another friend that was blonde, and
and she went.
Dye my hair blonde.
Oh my gosh, yes, and that was Florida when you guys went to see Florida.
Oh, I went to I went to Florida and I held. Oh yeah, and I saw her.
Yes.
And we were up at the stage at the end of the concert, but I got my phone up on stage. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then I have you in the background of the video, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
And you danced.
And and I held hands with Florida, and I danced with Florida, and to this day, I flex that. There's literally a video of me crying. I'm like, "Oh my god, I just danced with Florida."
And it was at a casino.
Just a regular
venue. Yeah. There was nothing.
You want to call it a kickback?
Yeah, it was very
I don't know. I wasn't there. I lost my ticket.
But so the Bruno Mars, they recorded it, and we would watch it almost every Friday night for 2 months straight. And I would come in from swim practice, and it would be playing again. And they'd have their glass of wine, and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh!"
Well, again, you had always very good meal on that Friday nights, and you guys would all go take a shower. We were all in our pajamas, most of the time, your dad was out of town for work, and sometimes Sean was out of town or out with his friends, and so we would do this. And sometimes you would sleep at the house too to make sure we're safe, And during the summer, obviously, it was always at our house because we had a pool. So, and we had the neighbors too. I will say that the summer of 2020. Which was the last summer that we were at the house. I think that was the most amazing summer.
We would hang out with the same people every day. I know my best friend and I, Malia, would stay at each other's house for 10 days straight because that's what we do. In our local energy drink place, Atomic, there'd be 2-hour lines because that's all we could do was sit in line for an energy drink.
During the summer, we were allowed to be with friends at that point because we had our famous 4th of July party.
Either way, you're allowed to be with your friends.
I think everybody had their own individual groups, and if you got it, you got it. Because we didn't know what was going to happen at that time. So we just
all hung out together.
Yeah, and then it was we knew we were moving. I think shout out to the Chamberlains because that was really fun. There were 2 houses down. They were moving their family because he works for John Deere. So we knew it was probably the last kind of summer that we were going to be around the pool, and it was every single day.
No, I would say I know it was a tough summer for a lot of people because it was COVID and there was a lot of depression that developed around then. But
I agree, Catherine, because there was a lot of bad.
Yeah.
But a lot of good came from it as well.
Yeah, I would say that I grew a lot closer to you and Malia and my swim friends. We'd have the same people over every day. And our neighbors would come over, and we would just
friends for life now because they're in a different state, and we are still.
We'd all just hang out by the pool or inside and have dinners because that's all you could do.
We would grill every day. We would all eat and we had a fridge outside. That was the rule though in the house. Everything that food or whatever or drinks outside, we had a mini fridge, and everybody had their shelves. Yeah. So, and I remember the Chamberlains would come in, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I just found this in boxes, whatever." It was a recipe 3-ring binder of Jello shots. So almost every day or other day,
he would
come up with new. He's like, "Okay, let's try this," and then we would just, I don't like those, and then he would just bring some more, and then so he had his shelf with all that. But he was 2 doors down. No, seriously, he would come in with his huge Yeti, and he would stay there, and then bring some more in it. But it was even for the kids. They still talk about it.
It created a lot of community and good memories. During COVID, we also did, my sister's prom got canceled. So my mom hosted an in-person prom at our house.
Because all of those girls had their dresses. The guys had their tuxedos or whatever suit rented. So they were 7 kids. So 14 couples. 7 couples. There were 14 kids, 7 couples. And I was like, you know what? If you want to, that's when restaurants reopen and all that good stuff. So they all decided to go. We made reservation for them at our infamous Biaggi's restaurant that we always go to. And then we all went to do formal pictures. And that was mid-July. I think it was mid-July that we did this. And then I said, let's just come back and do a pool party with you guys. And everybody was invited to stay and sleep over. There was no alcohol. Well, the adults did, but there's absolutely no alcohol for the kids.
Nope.
There was a fun, pictures with those props, whatever. We had the huge speaker out for music that we had like all
This
summer
was
long.
a disco ball.
Yeah, disco
Yeah.
ball. I mean, all
we
summer
had,
long we had this.
raffles and stuff, but
Yes.
that
Oh yeah.
was like Bryce and I's like third time seeing each other,
And you
it
guys
was
were doing the
extremely
bingo.
awkward. And Bella's date for the prom was Bryce's older brother, which is my now. Well, the younger brother's my boyfriend now, but yeah, that was really awkward.
Not the younger, the middle brother.
The middle brother.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
She has 2 boyfriends. Just kidding, Bryce.
No, the middle brother. But it was, so I was thinking like we need to do something special because I don't know if it's the same thing everywhere in every state or Canada or other countries you guys are from and listening from. But here in our own hometown, their after prom party. So even at prom, I think they had something fun happening. But after prom party, they had like drawing whatever numbers, whatever you call it, and they would win. Like I remember, I helped set up for Hannah, your daughters. They had like TVs, like big TVs,
Mini,
couches.
Roll-ups, like,
Gifts.
The gifts, yeah.
I mean, stuff for their dorms. I mean, it was just unbelievable the amount of, and it's all donated by parents. It was unreal. So we're like, okay, we can't come up with like a futon and a TV,
Right.
but let's do something fun for them. So I did ask Isabel, I remembered, I said, would you kind of think it's cheesy or would you like to play bingo and we'll have like baskets or gifts made? And I did not know all the moms. Like I did not know even like Bryce's mom. That was my first time communicating with them. And I said, okay, I don't know all of you, but I would like to know if anybody would be interested in providing at least one basket. You know, there's 14 kids. Let's try to make it that it work. And every parent sent 2.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was just unbelievable, all the fun things and that stuff that you guys all sent. And everybody wants to take a picture. I remember the second time around, no, everybody got one. And then there was 2 extras.
Yep.
And 2 kids got 2. And I remember one of them, I can't remember which, it was a guy. And he's like, Miss Militich, you didn't take my second picture. And I was like, shit, sorry. And I took a picture. For me, that meant that like
They were enjoying it,
they
They
really
had a
appreciated
really,
all
really
that.
good
Yeah.
time.
And we had a bunch of food for them for afterwards. And some had to leave, some stayed. So we had breakfast for them the next morning. But they were dancing. We still have videos doing the electric slide in the pool, outside the pool. Everybody was dancing. And then they all went inside and the parents stayed outside, or all the 21 and older, because Eve was there too. And we were just, my mom was there, your grandma was there. We danced the night. And it was just like our regular 4th of July party late. All of our neighbors were aware what was going on. And so they were invited anyways. But
It was a lot
like,
of fun.
Yeah. But our main topic, which now I believe is a small segment, but that's okay. We don't get to see Angie a lot now, so this is just time to hang out with her. Is our dreams from when we were younger and how that's changed to now. I've been wanting to do this topic for a while, and now we get another perspective. To give you an example, like I said, I wanted to be a dolphin when I was younger. I had the pink Zuma dolphin from Barbie, and I wanted to be the pink sparkly dolphin. But then
I'm not even kidding. That's true.
Yeah. I wanted to be Zuma, and then
Specifically.
then I got the Barbie that was a dolphin trainer, and I was like, I want to be a dolphin trainer. So we went to
And then
Discovery
option
Cove.
1 was that.
Yeah.
Option 2 was to be a dolphin.
Yeah, but I went to Discovery Cove, and I actually got to like kiss a dolphin and like play with the dolphins and stuff.
Swim in the water with
So
them.
that was very nice. But then I decided that I had to be a little bit realistic, and I decided I wanted to be an oncologist. And my mom
That's
can share
true.
a little story about like how I was very into, I don't know, like doctor stuff for a
Well, we
period
thought
of
she was
time.
going to be a doctor. I mean, she has the brain for it, but she went to business. But that's okay too. We need that too. But so her oldest sister was here on vacation when we came to Florida, and they were sitting in regular grass, and we don't know what bit Isabella's outside of the knee, right on the joint. We didn't notice right away that there was something wrong with it. We came back to Iowa. We're just, a weekend, and then she's changing in the morning, and I'm like, what is this? And it was like a ball next to her knee, and it was squishy. Like, So I was like, okay, it's just like what do you call this when you have this on your feet, like on your
A blister.
a blister? So I thought but it was like a big ass freaking juicy blister. So I was like, we'll go to the doctor. It was a Friday. I remember this because she went to school all day, picked you up too, and then went to the pediatrician. And we were the very last appointment, and I'm pretty sure everybody wanted to leave, and it's Friday afternoon. And he finally comes in. It was late. He had an emergency, and he comes in, and So Isabella's laying down. I'm holding her hand here, and she's already crying without even starting anything. And he's sitting there by her knee. And I have Doofus in the back here, and I can't pay attention to her, right? So I'm holding on, and then he cuts it open. And we thought that it was going to be just liquid, but when he was starting to press, it was really deep infected inside, and pus was coming out.
Yeah,
she is holding onto my hand, breaking my fingers, bloody screaming. And all I hear is her screaming, him saying, "I'm so sorry, sweetie." He was amazing. Like, bless his heart. He passed away. I mean, Dr. Omar was the best. Mm-hmm. And he kept saying, "I'm so sorry, sweetie. I'm so sorry, sweetie. Mom, how you doing? I'm so sorry." And then in the back, we hear, "Cool. This is awesome. Woo!" And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm on the verge of crying with her, laughing my ass off. And then poor him, he's just like, what's going on?
And there's other stories as well, but I don't know what happened, but now I can't watch TV shows with like gore or blood.
You were watching the other doctor, the surgeon, scraping everything in. That was Dr. Phelps.
And he was explaining everything to me, and I was so interested. But now I just can't even watch a TV show. But that is why I'm now studying business and finance. And my dream now is to be smart with my money and travel the world. So that is my dream now. And maybe also be a dolphin.
Yeah, swimming with dolphins.
That would be pretty cool. But how about you, Angie?
I'm doing great. I'm just listening to you two.
What was your dream?
Oh, my dream.
What did you want to be? So you were a runner, right, in high school?
I was a runner. I would run maybe, 50 miles a week. And it was a lot of hard work. Mm-hmm. Ran with my dad a lot. That was fun.
I didn't know your dad ran.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
He's the one that got me into running. And I remember being in school. It was probably 4th or 5th grade when I started. And I could not wait to get out of school so I could go run.
Oh,
that was.
So was it track or was it cross country?
It was both. I ran
both. Okay.
Yep. And my dream was to go to the Olympics someday, but that did not happen. I quit my high school years. I decided I did not want to run anymore. It was a lot of work, but it was satisfying. It was really fulfilling, and I enjoyed it. But it just came time to where I was done.
So. And you did cheerleading.
Did cheerleading as well. That was a whole nother story, and we won't go there.
Well, we can a little bit. Girls are so awesome.
Girls are not awesome.
Was it like the stereotypical like cheer girls where they're just mean, or
they were mean? So what had happened was 7th grade I didn't make the squad. 8th grade I did make the squad, and I beat one of the girls that was in the squad.
So it's like the movies,
7th grade year. Yeah. And to be honest, it was kind of a bullying situation, and they would teach the cheers, and they already knew the cheers from 7th grade and used them for 8th grade year, and then they wouldn't teach me the cheer.
Wow.
So then I would have to go out and try to cheer, and our coach said, "You're going out and still doing it." And so I just did my best and kept going, and I was not going to quit because they were not going to bully me out of it. So,
they were not going to win.
Nope.
That is an inspirational story, though.
Yeah.
Actually, it is.
Wow.
It takes a lot of guts to do this. Yeah.
Those can be really
hard.
mean. Yeah.
It was really, really hard, but I was just like, I'm not quitting.
Yeah.
So
in high school, did you do any sports?
High school, I ran track for a couple of years, and then I quit.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what did you want to be?
What was what career was
I wanted to be an elementary teacher.
Okay.
I loved kids.
Wait, she said I loved kids.
I loved kids.
Past tense.
But then I realized I worked for Family Resources with adolescent females, and that was enjoyable as well.
That had to be hard.
It was really hard. I was thrown up to glass doors, and it was really hard. But the elementary teaching, I decided after 2 years, I just wanted to raise my own kids and not have a classroom, simply because it's so hard, and it takes a special person. And I know one. Her name's Bella.
Yeah.
Yes.
That wants to be a teacher.
So I'm so proud of her, and but I do love teaching. I love helping kids, and
you've done that a little bit too. You were teaching homeschool kids.
Yes, I did that for a little bit.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So I pretty much decided my goal was to stay home with the kids and be able to raise them,
And then Sean, your husband, that's where you guys met, right? At Family Resources.
Yep. When the girls became violent, we had all female staff, so we decided to bring some of the male staff down to help. And that's when I met him. So.
And we found out today that because I was talking to my oldest one, Isabella, on the phone, and I told her, I said, well, maybe I don't know why we were talking about this, but I said, maybe you'll meet your men of your life when you're going to come here for spring break. And she's like, yeah, 1 week, Mom. And I said, it takes 1 day. And you're like, half a day. And then what Sean
8 hours.
said, 8 hours. Like, and you said, I'm going to marry you. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
We went out on our first date, and that night he said, I'm going to marry you. And I said, you need to stop. You're scaring me.
And 26 years
and
later?
We have been together ever since.
Yes. Married
I think we're
27. 27 years.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe I never knew that story.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of knew it, but not in details. But then Isabella heard her from the phone and was laughing out loud, like, okay, Angie.
Yeah.
Because, I'm kind of like, she's kind of the second mom of my kids in same thing, like your kids call me mom and stuff. So we go on vacation together and things like that. Yeah. And then it's vacation. Not vacation. I learned that when we were going to Marco Island.
Yes.
That's when the 2020, the whole thing happened.
Yeah.
We were on vacation.
And I was in Texas, and
at your godparents.
I had to come back early.
At your godparents, we were here. Amelia stayed here because she was very tiny. She was here with my mom, and I had taken my mom's car and drove across to Marco Island with Isabella for her senior trip. And then we were staying with your house and in your house with your kids. And there was another house. There were four family. We called it a compound.
Yep.
It was huge. And Sean, I will always remember, like, you need to understand, Lynn, like, when I'm on vacation, it's vacation. So I said, okay. He said, there's no clock, there's no program unless we reserve something that we have to go and do at a certain time.
Go with the flow.
Yeah.
That's what I like. There's no, like, I like this.
He was repeating it so many times, and I was like, yeah, you don't know me on vacation then, because I am like that. Like, don't worry. And then really the only thing I had to do, and I would not wake up anybody, is Isabella had to go row in the morning. So I had to get her up, and nobody knew. I would drop her off, which was like 2 corners, like it took 30 seconds. Come back, would make my coffee, read my book outside because it was just beautiful. Like in the lanai, it was just gorgeous. And then just, she'd be, I'm done, go back. And then everybody would wake up, and he's like, yeah, you are pretty laid back. I'm like, we just need the beach. That's all we wanted. We just need a beach.
Beach and food.
Yeah, that we were very happy.
Too.
Been to the Gulf side once, and it was really pretty. I love the Gulf side. It's so calm
and Marco Island was. I mean, I would totally retire there. This is not a place I would go right now. It's a little bit more. It seems
like a retirement.
Yeah, spot. It's a whole lot laid back.
I like it. Or people that just like a quiet vacation.
Yeah, but that's what it was. Like, we walked from the street to the beach, and it was the same level. I remember this. Like, our chairs were in the water. Didn't matter and stuff. And
it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was my first time there. Okay, what did I want to be when I grew up? Well, first, my dad was a self-made man, so he started his own company. So I guess, that's not true. I was a figure skater, so I wanted to go to the Olympics, but quickly understood that was never going to happen. And then we skied, and my brother was doing some moguls and downhill skiing and stuff. And I don't know if he thought he was going, but he was not going. He was really good though. He was really athletic, but and then so I guess I'm going to take over my dad's business. I don't know. I had no clue what I wanted to be, like, seriously. And then high school, so there's 5 years in Canada, 6 years of elementary school, then you go to high school, it's 5 years, and then you go to college for 2 years, depending if you want to do a profession after that, then you go somewhere else, or if you're done after that. But so when you were in the fifth year of high school, we all wrote in a bottle what we were going to be, what we thought we were going to be, and I thought I was going to be an attorney. Like, really, I cry at anything. Like, I would have been the worst person in
somebody tells you you're wrong, you're like,
no, it would have been terrible. I could argue myself out, but I would have been way too emotional. And I couldn't come back for when they opened this up. I think it was 10 or 20 year reunion. I can't remember. I didn't go, and some of my friends texted me and be like, holy shit, you were going to be an attorney. I'm like, I have no idea why. And then I think of all the people in the bottle, there was maybe 5 people that followed through with what they wanted to be. And then I don't know, I really wanted to be a surgeon. That was something that I'm not grossed out, as long as it's not eyes and it's not my kids, I'm good, but I just, that's
not me. I'd be
really
like,
what I want.
No, yeah, you're like, what is that?
driving.
I think every time I looked at TV and stuff, I'm better to see inside than somebody that has a compound fracture and it sticks out. Now, you can't. But
My friend Kennedy actually saw a guy fall.
Yeah.
Last year, a teacher fall and his bone went out his hand.
Yeah.
And she was like, I can't ever look at anything the same anymore. Like
That would be bad.
That traumatized her big time. But so it's that's what I really want to be. But in now there's more med school where I'm from, but there was really not that many. And even my cousin, who was like what we call a 4.0 here, extremely intelligent, took years and years. I mean, he's done so many extra classes just to be a pharmacist he is now. And so there was no way I would have ever made it. But I mean, I'm a chiropractor, I'm still a doctor, and I worked on cadavers. I mean, all opened up and whatnot. But I'm telling you, the eye part, can't do eyes. Just can't. It's not my thing. I was taking the test like this the whole time. And
you remember when I tried to put my contacts in my eyes and it took me 2 hours and I couldn't even get one in?
Yeah. And at this point I was getting mad. I was like, I'm going to put it in.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was the poor guy.
I was there for so long. He's like,
can we come back tomorrow? And I'm like, we're not coming back.
Yeah.
This thing's going in right now.
No.
So, but you're a chiro.
I'm a doctor.
Yes.
I'm just not a surgeon. But yeah, and
she prevents surgeries.
I prevent surgeries.
Yes. My arm just.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah. But
she's amazing.
Yes, she is. But that is all we have for today. Jesus. All right, cheers to season 2.
Yay!
And we're gonna go and celebrate after this. But before we end every episode, we do a Would You Rather. And since it is the first episode of season 2, we will have our guest at the Would You Rather.
I'm very nice. It's gonna be a really easy one. If I can find it. Crap. Okay. Would you rather trip and fall in front of just your crush, or trip and fall in front of an entire class or auditorium?
Well, trip and fall in front of an entire
class.
Yeah,
not your crush.
Yeah. Not my crush. No, no, absolutely not.
No.
What about you?
I trip and fall in front of everybody.
Well, that's true.
She trips and falls in air, so there you go.
Yeah, no, I think your crush is more personable, and it would be more embarrassing. Completely.
That's true. Oh,
yeah, because you care a little bit more.
Yeah.
Than with random.
Catherine is.
If you don't look, you don't know who's really watching when you do it in a crowd. So
and usually it's like nobody saw that, right? You close your eyes.
Yeah, and you just run out. I'm leaving right now.
You don't even kind of like when you trip over a crack and you don't look back because you know you messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have just to finish this with her falling, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
That was last year. That was a year and a half ago.
Yeah. It was
at least, we were coming to visit you with Bryce as a surprise. So we're gonna finish on this because this is the funniest story. We were done walking around her neighborhood, and it had been a good over an hour that we were walking. We are in front of her house, and the house is right here, and she's showing me where she wants to put flowers or new pots of flowers, whatever. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, from a little thing like this,
little elevated
sidewalk, but I mean, we're talking half an
very
inch,
little.
Very thin. She did not lift her foot high enough, and she did not fall. She fell like this, like timber, like that. So that's what happened. And she
on my left side, everything, and I was going to protect my face.
But it didn't happen. It was just like this.
I protected my face, but
kind of,
my tooth.
Yeah, and then so
you chipped your tooth?
Yeah, I did chip it.
A little bit, yeah. But the whole time it's like she's next to me, and it's like, of course, it's like slow motion, right?
Yeah.
You're just like.
Did you laugh?
Well, no. At first, I didn't laugh because I thought she broke her face. I mean, it was so loud. It's so loud, and it's just. Yes. And then I saw her fall. I was like, "Oh my God!" And she turned around, and I was like, I didn't want to look at her face. I thought her face was going to be completely smashed.
I was going to protect my face.
And then she turned around, and she's like, "Is my tooth okay?" So first thing she said, I was just like, "She's behind me." I'm like, "Is my tooth?" And I'm crying. I'm like, "You're such an idiot." And then I turn around, and there's like neighbors in the driveway, cameras. I'm like, "Oh, they're going to put this on Funniest Home Video for sure. They're making $10,000 out of this fall." But she was in a cast for a little bit.
Not because anything was broken.
No, it was just preventative. Yeah,
that it was chipped, and
And then she's like, and then she was with this ruler, and we were going to Florida. And she's like, "I'm not getting this thing. This thing needs to go off before before
I did go to Nashville though with the cast. And
you did.
Florida was next, and I said I could not do it with the humidity, and I got it off.
I got it off. Yeah, it was, and the whole time she's like, "Could you imagine me with this? We're in the ocean."
I don't think I would have went.
No,
it would have been
that would have
terrible.
been so sweaty.
We would have taken it off for you.
Yeah,
that is a little final story for you guys, but
it was.
Okay, follow us on TikTok at @a_coffee_break, Instagram at @a_coffee.break. Our video podcasts are on Spotify and YouTube, and make sure to subscribe on YouTube. But yeah, and then let us know if there's any topics that you guys would like us to talk about, or if you want Angie on again. I'm sure you guys do. But but yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye. What up?